The COVID distress, do we see this? It was from Willem. Do we see this as being permanent? No, our current plans are that this is a COVID-19 time-limited or bound distress assistance. Given the resources that we have in government and the resources that we need to put in place to dig our way out of the hole that COVID-19 is depositing us into, because we're still going deeper into this hole, we will not immediately have these resources. What with our revenue source shrinking, we saw and we had the commissioner of SARS saying that we are going to be short 285 billion rand. Now, that is money that could have come in handy. We're going, from a fiscal point of view, we are in serious situation. And what we have done was to craft a 500 billion assistance, both relief and social and economic relief package, to help to navigate vulnerable people in our country, as well as companies that are in distress. And this is clearly for a limited time. And some of the money we've had to loan, we've got to loan from a number of centers, like for instance, the New Development Bank, the African Development Bank, the IMF, the World Bank, and so including internal sources that we have to rely on. And to raise almost 11% of your GDP is quite a bit of money, and we've decided that we must have this. But what that also raises, Willem, is that there is a need for us to start looking, as I think other organizations have said, we now need to start looking at how we give assistance to our people who are in distress for a longer period in their own lives, where there is poverty, where there is inequality. And let me immediately say that a number of countries in the world are already saying, even those countries that were vehemently opposed to even countenancing a universal social grant of some sort, are beginning to countenance that. Now, COVID-19 finds us in a very dire situation where our economy has been in serious trouble, and with the downgrading, we're in much bigger trouble. We now need to find a number of ways to address all these challenges. But for now, this assistance will last for 6 months. We announced that we are going to give this assistance both to do a top-up on the child grants, the old age pensioners, the disability grants, as well as the grants to the special grants for unemployed people. So this is going to be available for 6 months, and we've made that very clear right from the beginning. And obviously, we know we are going to face other challenges going forward, and it is for that reason that we're saying we now need to look at recovery, economic recovery that needs to address itself to precisely some of the problems that you are alluding to, Willem. How we address issues of unemployment and even issues of hunger. Now, another question was, I didn't get the name, has COVID-19 affected the restructuring of our economy? And are we going to be able to move on with the restructuring of our economy? The answer to both is, well, has it affected it negatively? No. If anything, COVID-19 now gives us even a much stronger platform. It gives us even a much stronger reason, if you like, if we ever needed a reason, but it gives us even a much stronger rationale to transform and restructure the economy. Our economy is crying out for restructuring. We've been operating under an economy that is both colonial and racist over the many years. And that economy now needs to be realigned to deal with the challenges that South Africa faces right now. And it is for this reason that we say, and I'm glad that many other people, including people in business, are saying we now need a reset of our economy. And a reset of our economy must mean that we've got to transform the economy. We've got to make our economy to be more aligned with inclusive growth. Those are the key priorities. Inclusive growth. It must be an economy that is going to respond to the poverty that prevails in our country. It must be an economy that is going to be, in a very direct way, be aimed at creating jobs. My strong view is that we shouldn't and cannot carry on as a country countenancing, living with 10 million people out of work. We've got to do as much as what it takes to make sure that we restructure our economy and to reposition it so that it is able to address all the challenges. And of course, the priorities are going to be that our fiscal position must be properly strengthened. We need a much stronger fiscal positioning. We must have a productive economy. So we must look at all our industries, our sectors of our economy rather, and make sure that they become productive. We industrialize, we localize, and we foster the empowerment of women in our economy, and we focus on youth empowerment and bring in young people into economic activity. Disabled people must also be well positioned in our country, and we must look at various sectors. The land question has to be addressed. Agriculture needs to be a key component of the growth trajectory that we need to have. We need to look at infrastructure to be the real flywheel that is going to drive economic growth in our country. And when we look at the infrastructure, there is a lot that can be done and that we will do to upgrade the economic growth in our country. Many countries that have come out of a post-war type of situation like we do now, I characterize post-COVID-19 as almost a post-war situation, have often relied on infrastructure to bolster economic growth. And that is precisely what I would like to see. So infrastructure is going to be one of the key backbones of economic growth going forward. And it will also lead to restructuring of our economy as well, as we have to do local manufacture of the materials that we use in infrastructure.